Hey ladies and gents, it is your boy Bucket Hat Sam and we are back again today for another Premier League predictions video. Today we're going to be talking about game week 16 because last week's was absolutely incredible. So we're going to do another one this week. I'm very excited. Some absolutely huge games. We've got the Manchester Derby. We've got Southampton versus Tottenham, Chelsea, Brentford, Arsenal, Everton and loads more. But before we get into it, please do smash the like button and please do subscribe. We're on the hunt to try and get to 10,000 subscribers. We're going to get there eventually. So give us a follow now if you can. Subscribe and like the video and comment down below your predictions. Let's get straight into it. The first game of the game week, we have got Arsenal versus Everton. Everton going into this game week, obviously they didn't play against Liverpool. That game was called off down to the storm. Before that, they beat Wolves 4-0. So off back of some good form and had quite a bit of rest. And they come up against an Arsenal side that did just draw to Fulham. Not the most convincing performances, but Arsenal for me are a really decent side. Like, I know it's a very obvious thing to say. I think they've kind of gone under the radar this season. I think it's become quite a lazy narrative that everyone's trying to push currently, just saying that all they do is they're just corner kicks FC. Yes, they are scoring a lot of goals from set pieces, but they do still create a lot of chances. They had quite a high XG. I think they're quite unlucky not to beat Fulham personally. So I think Arsenal are going to win this game. I'm going for a Arsenal 2-0 win here at home, the first game of the weekend. Next then, we've got Wolverhampton Wanderers versus Ipswich Town. Currently, as of recording, I'm recording this currently on Tuesday morning. Gary O'Neill has not been sacked. So far, he hasn't been sacked. Nothing has been said yet. There's obviously a lot of murmurs. A lot of people think he will be. But as it stands, he's not been sacked. They're going into this game. 3 losses on the bounce. It was all kicking off at full time. You've got Lamina arguing with Jared Bowen, arguing with the assistant coach as well. It's just not a very good look for Wolves, and they're coming up against an Ipswich side that also aren't in great form either. Both sides with 3 losses on the bounce. These two sides have been really poor recently. And if I'm honest, Ipswich kind of came into this season. Everyone said at the start of the season they're playing a lot better than expected, but they did the kind of normal thing that sides do when they come up from the Championship. They carry that momentum for a little bit, and then we're kind of seeing this drop off. They've only got 1 win all season. Yes, they're drawing a lot of games, but they need to turn those into wins. But I do think this one is going to be a draw. So I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw here in this game. Next, we've got Newcastle versus Leicester. Newcastle have been really poor recently without a win now in 4 games with 2 losses in that time. And they're coming up against the Leicester side that had got a good result under Ruud so far with 1 win and 1 draw. I'm going to be honest though. I'm still not convinced by this Leicester side. I think he might keep them up just purely down to the fact that there's 3 worse teams than Ruud's Leicester City, but I'm not convinced by the performances, if I'm honest. So I'm going to go for a Newcastle win here. I think they're going to bounce back, get a solid 2-0 win here for Newcastle. Next, we've got Liverpool versus Fulham. Now, Fulham have been absolutely incredible so far this season, sat on 23 points. I know they're sat in 10th, but it's very tight. They're literally 2 points away from 5th in their league. It's absolutely crazy. I feel like they've gone really under the radar, and another great result against Arsenal at home this weekend that just went by, and Liverpool obviously didn't play. They've got 4 wins in their last 5 games. They've been absolutely incredible this season, and we keep speaking about the fact that when are they going to slow down? I don't think they ever will, but I'm going to go for a 2-1 Liverpool home win here. Yeah, I think Fulham will get a goal. Fulham have that knack of just kind of countering and getting a goal against some of these bigger sides, and they've had some really good results. So I do think they're going to put up good performance, but I think Liverpool are just unstoppable at the minute. I can't see them slowing down. Next, we've got arguably one of the biggest and most exciting games of the weekend. Nottingham Forest versus Aston Villa, 5th versus 6th, both of them on joint points. Villa have turned around that form now with 2 wins on the bounce in 1 week. They've kind of changed it. The crisis that was being spoken about in the space of 4 or 5 days, they've all turned it around. Nottingham Forest as well with a great result on the weekend. A really strong performance against Manchester United. I know Onana did help them in that, but very convincing win. So this game's going to be quite an interesting one. Nottingham Forest being at home as well, I think it's going to be a really tight affair. So I'm going to go for a 2-2. I'm going for a Desmond. I think there's going to be a lot of goals this weekend. Yeah, I'm really excited for that game. The late kickoff on Saturday, so I certainly will be watching that. Next, we've got Brighton versus Crystal Palace, the big derby. Brighton, who are currently sat in 7th without a win now in 3. They're coming against Crystal Palace side, who got an incredible result against Manchester City, and they're unbeaten in 4 games. I think Crystal Palace have they're looking a lot better than they did before now. 4 points away from Ipswich, 4 points clear of the relegation zone. And players like Mateta have been kind of stepping up recently, and I think it's going to be a really exciting game. The Sunday early kickoff, so again, I will be watching this. I'll be sat in the pub enjoying this game because this it's an exciting one. It always is a really good game and a great atmosphere. I'm a big fan of this. I know a lot of people like to poo-poo on the derby, but I'm a big fan of this game. I'm really excited for this one. But I do think Brighton are just about going to win this one, so I'm going to go for a Brighton 1-0 win. Yes, you heard me. I think they're going to get a clean sheet as well. Next game, the Sunday 4:30 kickoff. we've got the Manchester derby. Manchester City versus Manchester United. Man United coming into this game with 2 losses on the bounce, not been very good at all recently in their performances. I thought they were quite poor at times in the game against why is my brain just got against Nottingham Forest. Some of the set piece work was just absolutely horrific, and I think Manchester City will kind of really home in on that. Manchester City unbeaten in their last 2 games with 1 win, and really they should have beaten Crystal Palace, but you did see they rested a lot of players for the Champions League. I do think that Manchester City are going to absolutely batter Manchester United. I think this is going to be like the kind of stepping stone. This is where they bounce back, using this game as a bit of a catalyst. So I'm going to go for Manchester City 3-0 home winners. Yeah, I think the pressure is really going to mount on Amarim, and I think they're really going to pile into Onana because obviously he's been really poor recently. In the next game, we have got Tottenham versus Southampton, a 7 o'clock game. I'm not a fan of the Sunday night games, but it's happening, so we kind of got to go. We've got to roll with it, haven't we? But Southampton going into this game without a win in their last 5 games, with 1 draw in that time, with 1 win all season. They come up against a Tottenham side that are really decent, but they just cannot win at the minute, and the pressure's mounting. I think it's a really odd one. I don't really know where I stand with the whole Ange thing. I'm going to do a video on it and discuss kind of the whole thing and step back and analyse them, because they play some really nice football, but it's just got no substance to it, and they're so open, and their reluctance to change, and the fact that they really were embarrassing, the fact that they didn't win that game against Chelsea on the weekend. 2-0 up at home, you should be beating any side. I don't care who you're playing. That I thought that was just absolutely dreadful, and the pressure is mounting. The fans aren't happy. Understandably, their form has been dreadful recently, but at least they're playing some nice football. That's the way Ange sees it. But yeah, it's a very interesting kind of game, this, and I do think though it will suit Tottenham massively. Tottenham without a win now in their last 3 games, with 2 losses in that time. But I do think the fact that Southampton pass around the back, it will kind of really play into Tottenham's hands, because they like to play a high pressing side. I think players like Solanke, Son, Kulusevski, Brennan Johnsons, they'll be like a trigger for those players, and they'll win the ball back quite high up and get their goals, because that is how they normally score. Or Kulusevski winning it and kind of threading those passes that are absolutely gorgeous at the minute. He's unstoppable. I've been really loving him this season in that new role, in that number 10. And then the next game, we've got Chelsea versus Brentford. Now, it is at Chelsea, and Chelsea I've been absolutely loving watching recently. They were absolutely incredible against Tottenham. They're just exciting to watch. They can't defend, but they just don't stop scoring. And players like Cole Palmer, Nicholas Jackson, and even Enzo Fernandez, who'd have thought it, is also getting on the score sheet. Enzo's been absolutely brilliant recently. I've got to give him some credit, because I have slagged him off quite a lot on this channel. But yeah, they're looking really good at the minute. And because Brentford have got such a bad away record, they just can't win away. I'm going to go for a Chelsea win here. I'm going to go for a 2-1 Chelsea win. Yeah, because Chelsea, as I said before, can't defend. So I know they're going to concede. There's a guarantee that will happen. Next, then we got Bournemouth versus West Ham, the Monday night game. West Ham playing 2 Monday night games in a row. That's a bit odd. Doesn't seem right. But yeah, West Ham going into this game, obviously off the back of the win against the Wolves. It wasn't probably the most convincing win, if I'm honest. I feel like they were lucky that Wolves didn't get 2 penalties. I'm just putting my hands up now. But they got a win. They played for Lopetegui, but I still think Lopetegui, his time will run out soon. And I think going into this game, I think Bournemouth, off the back of 3 wins on the bounce, Bournemouth are incredible at home. I love Evan Nilsson, and I love the way they're playing at the minute. It's really high energy, high pressing again. I think it'll play into their hands. I think West Ham will just get absolutely, just completely destroyed by the constant pressure of this Bournemouth side. Bournemouth are incredible at home. So I'm going to go for a 2-0 Bournemouth win, and then I think Lopetegui will get the sack. I just think it hasn't worked, and every time it seems to be like he's about to get sacked, they get a win, and then it kind of gives him another week or two, and then we kind of just keep going around in the same cycle. So I do believe he will get sacked soon. It's just a ticking time bomb. We're just waiting for it. But thank you guys for watching. Please comment down below your predictions. Please smash the like button and subscribe, because we are on our way to hitting 10,000 subscribers. I love you all. I appreciate it. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you again tomorrow for another upload. Thank you. Goodbye. Have a splendid week, and I hope your team wins, as long as you're not playing my team, the Albion. But thank you. Goodbye.